Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today I am doing an everyday look, which is this. So I am going to be talking over the makeup I do and the products I use. So if you like this look, then just keep on watching. Today I am starting off with my brows. First of all, using the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. I do have my brows microbladed, so I never normally fill them in, but I thought I would today. And I also fill in my left brow a little bit more than my right, as my right brow is higher and more fuller, whereas my left one isn't. So I just fill that in and take more time on it, making sure that the arch is a bit more higher and that it's just filled in all the gaps. And then I just go in on my right brow and just make sure that the colour is the same. Then I just put a bit of concealer under my brows just to define them a bit more and clean them up. For primer, I use the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Hydrating Primer. This primer keeps my makeup on for hours, looking fresh, and has a nice feel to it while keeping my skin hydrated. And I just apply that with my fingers, as that's what I feel is best for me. And it also just leaves my face with a bit of a glow. Foundation wise, I use the Dior Face and Body Foundation. I love this foundation for an everyday look. It's easy to apply and you can build the coverage from medium to full. So I first put it on my hand and then get my beauty blender and apply it that way onto my face, as I feel then I have more control on building the coverage I want and applying it how I want, making sure that it's still looking fresh and not too much on my skin. Then once the foundation is applied all over, I just keep going over with my beauty blender to make sure everything's blended and that I have the finish I want. For concealer, I use the Forever Skin Correct by Dior. I use this concealer for everyday makeup. It gives great coverage for under my eyes and any imperfections, and also matches well with the finish of the Dior foundation. I also don't just use a shade a bit more lighter than the foundation, just so I get the coverage but also highlights. So I apply that just to under my eyes and then use the excess for my forehead and my chin. I then grab a concealer brush and get more of the concealer and just apply to any imperfections and where I feel like I need more coverage, and that just builds it up nicer and blends it out. I normally use a cream bronzer or contour before concealer, but I did forget, so I'm using the Huda Beauty Tantour. I don't always use a cream bronzer for an everyday look, but I love the finish it gives and just brings a bit more colour to my skin. I also use it because if my bronzer or contour rubs off throughout the day, then I have that bronzed base still there. And it also just gives my face more of a shape and definition. And I just apply that to under my cheekbones and around my forehead and just build it up as I go. To set my face, I'm using the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Powder and the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Powder. So to set my eyes, I just use the Charlotte Tilbury powder as it gets rid of any creases and keeps my concealer there all day and is a great base for my eyeshadow. Then right under my eyes, I use the Charlotte Tilbury powder, but then I go over with my Huda Beauty powder, just set in my under eyes, my nose, my chin, and just any other areas I feel like need setting, especially my T-zone. And my eyes, under eyes do crease easily, so I'm just making sure that they are set in place. Now I'm using the MAC Studio Fix Sculpt and Shape palette, not to contour but to use the brighter highlight shade for size. This isn't exactly a highlight but just adds a nice glow to my skin, and it's more subtle everyday kind of highlight to the skin, and I just use that on my higher points of the cheek, my forehead, my nose and my chin. It does give a really nice finish, so this is why I use it for an everyday makeup. For bronzer, I am using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. I love this bronzer. It is so pigmented and gives a nice finish and matches well to my skin. It also blends in well. So I slowly build the colour up just to, depending how deep or bronzed I want my face. And I use that on my cheekbones and under and on my jawline, just to add some definition. For my blush and a bit of highlight, I'm using the BH Cosmetics Blushing in Barley palette. I'm using the shade Coral for my blush, and I don't apply it exactly on the apples of my cheeks. I prefer blending it upwards towards my hairline like a bronzer, and that just lifts your face a little bit. And I also add it to my nose just to give a bit of colour. I'm not using much highlight, but I'm using the shade Glisten and just applying it right to the tops of where I would highlight, but I'm literally adding the tiniest bit and blending it out. Now that my skin is done, I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way the Natural Nudes palette for my eyeshadow. This is a great everyday eyeshadow and it has plenty of shades to suit any skin tone. For my crease, I'm using the shade Nude, and I just blend this in by doing wind wiper motions but also circular. Just make sure that it's blended in and going into my crease. And I also look down and tilt my head a bit up just to find my exact crease and build it up in that area. And for an everyday look, I normally do drag the shade, my crease shade, just a bit onto my lid. Then to blend them more upwards, I use the shade Seashell just to help blend it out a bit more. I left most of my lid and just put a highlight shade from the BH Cosmetics palette on my inner corner. I decided to add liner, so I used the Benefit Roller Liner in the shade Brown. I don't have natural lashes and not many, so I first start off by just lining my waterline and building it up just to my lash line. And I build it up slowly due to me not having any lashes. So then I first of all draw my wing out and just create a line and checking what way it is going and how long I want it. And once I'm happy, I just start filling that in. I also decided to have a bit more of a smoked liner, so I used the shade Truffle from the Born This Way palette and just blended that into my liner just to make it not so sharp. And as you can see, I've smoked them out and just made them a little bit more softer. So I just applied the L'Oreal mascara to my bottom lashes as I don't have any top ones. And then I chose the Tarte lashes in the style TL7. And I start off by just applying them to the ends and then just sticking them on, make sure they are fitted to my eye and they are already cut to the size of my eye. And as I don't have any lashes on one eye, I just make sure that they are properly stuck down. While my other lash dries, I am just using the Benefit Gimme Brow gel to set my brows. So with my eyes done, I am moving on to my lips now. So for lip liner, I use the Morphe Backseat Love. Then I use the Honey Love MAC lipstick, and finally I'm using a bit of the No. 7 High Shine lip gloss. To line my lips, I start off on my Cupid's bow and make that a little bit more defined. And then I go to my inner corners and just line them in and make sure that it looks equal so far. And then I do the same on my lower lip, just lining the outside and make sure they are even. Then with my fingers, I just dab and blend the liner in towards the middle of my lips, just so it's blended in before I put my lipstick on, but that there is still a line to follow. Then I just apply my MAC lipstick. I love this shade as it is the perfect nude for me. I didn't add much lip gloss, I just took it on my finger and dabbed it on just to have a subtle glow at the Cupid's bow and the middle of the lower lip. Now to finish off and set my entire face, I use the Revolution Hyaluronic Thick Spray, and that is the makeup done. I hope you enjoyed, and if you liked it, give a thumbs up and subscribe.